Hi friends, welcome to today's FAQ covering the holiday shutdowns with your manufacturing. So if you're having trouble with your drop shipping business, orders aren't coming in as quickly as you expect, this may be the reason. So we're going to cover the holiday schedules of some major manufacturing countries, what to do if you're stuck with a lot of orders that aren't being fulfilled by your dropshipping partner, and then some things to do to plan ahead for that. So if you're just joining us for the first time, let me introduce myself. My name is Donovan. I'm a supply chain professional with over 10 years of experience. I've done planning on the front end with customers as large as Apple, so doing their forecasting, demand planning, purchasing. And then I've actually spent a few years running an e-commerce warehouse. So my goal here with My House to Warehouse is to grow those online e-commerce entrepreneurs from their home business, scale their business up, give them the confidence and capabilities to run their own warehouse, or successfully transition over to a third-party warehouse to run their business. So let's go and get started. Every week we have this lesson, so go ahead and join us in the My House to Warehouse Training Academy on Facebook. The link is down in the description. Every week we'll have a training coming from Singapore at 10 a.m. Can join us on the West Coast and East Coast USA in the evenings on Thursday. So these frustrations, I hear quite often from people doing dropshipping. They don't really understand why their business isn't getting the service level that it needs. The customer service isn't replying. Orders aren't shipping out on time. And then sometimes orders can arrive within a few weeks. Sometimes it could take 6 weeks or more for their shipments to arrive to their customers. So let me go into explain some of the reasons why that may happen. After working with manufacturers for quite some time, here in Singapore, working with suppliers in China and around the region, it could be, a natural disaster, an accident. I've worked previously where a volcano in Iceland disrupted my air travel, right? So my shipments were going by air. They weren't able to reach their destination on time because a volcano erupted. So those are kind of uncontrollable reasons why your shipments may be delayed. Another reason may be, your manufacturer might be understaffed, or you just may not be a customer that has enough orders to warrant a lot of attention. So we'll deal with some of the things that we can do with uncontrollable risk in another video. So you can go and check that out in the description when that is up. And what we're going to talk about today is kind of controllable reasons why your orders may be late. So that's going to be either there's a holiday, a manufacturing shutdown, there's some maintenance going on that they're going to inform you of ahead of time. So we're going to go through that. Our agenda today is to take a look at some major manufacturing countries, their holidays, what happens during a holiday closure to your orders, how your backlog will pile up, and what happens after to clear it. And then 4 tips to minimize the damage. So if you're finding that you're stuck with a lot of orders that are not being fulfilled, we got 4 tips for you to help manage that situation. And then we have how to plan ahead going forward so that it won't happen as severely. Let's go and dive in. We split it into sessions here based on the top manufacturing countries. You see China is a top. So first we're going to talk a little bit about China and some other countries in the region that are large manufacturers like Japan and Korea. We're going to jump to EU region countries being led by Germany, Italy, UK in their manufacturing. And then we're going to talk about some of the holidays you might expect from US, India, Brazil, and Indonesia, up and coming manufacturing country there. So getting right into it, China. Lunar New Year is quite popular, also known as Chinese New Year or CNY. It's a very big holiday in China. I cannot emphasize that enough. If you're from the US, think of it as, Thanksgiving and Christmas kind of put together. What happens is, just like Thanksgiving, everybody's supposed to be home for dinner on New Year's Eve. So before the Chinese New Year even starts, there's going to be a bunch of factories closing down. Everybody's going to travel back to their hometown, back to their home village, and have dinner on that New Year's Eve. Very important. And then after that, there's 15 more days of shutdown. Each day, each event will happen. Visiting relatives, these type of things. So it's actually a real complete shutdown of the country. So it's very important to plan ahead for this. Korea also celebrates something similar. It's not as long as the Chinese New Year. Also Vietnam with Tet, Lunar New Year festival as well. They'll be down for a few days. So keep that in mind if you're working with those countries. Golden Week. Golden Week is the Chinese kind of national day period. So So they do a lot of celebration during that time, parades. The citizens are relieved from work for a week, and they do a bunch of National Day activities. Some other festivals that may shut you down for a few days. King Ming, also known as Tomb Sweeping Day. People have to go back, maintain their ancestors' tombs, the cemetery. They go back, clean up, spend some time with family. There's usually 3 days for that in April. Dragon Boat Festival is another one in June. And Mid-Autumn Festival, Korea also celebrates this, usually in September, where they also have to go back. Similar, you have to go back for dinner with your family there. So plan ahead for those holidays if you're working with China or Korea. For Japan, they have Children's Day in the first week of May. It's kind of grouped together with a bunch of other holidays, but children kind of take the priority. So it's about a week of holidays in Japan and Korea where they celebrate that in the beginning of May. Now, Japan and Korea pretty westernized, so they also celebrate the Gregorian New Year. That's the January 1st New Year, and Christmas. Keep a lookout for National and Remembrance Days in Japan and Korea from World War II. So if you're working with Japan, they do have Hiroshima Remembrance Day. So if they're having a holiday, be a little sensitive, use some good understanding of why they may be taking some holidays. US, the longest holiday that you usually see from the US is Thanksgiving. Falls on a Thursday. A lot of times Friday is off as well, and they'll take a long weekend. Christmas, New Year's, quite common at the end of the year there. Some less common holidays, just to mention, for lower productivity or maybe lower response time, is going to be Super Bowl Sunday. It's been going on recently, the first Sunday in February. So a lot of people spend the day out on that Sunday in bars watching the game. So they may come a little bit late on Monday or maybe take the day off. So look out for that. Same thing for daylight savings time. A lot of other countries also celebrate, not celebrate, but experience daylight savings time, like EU. They basically lose an hour of time to compensate for the summer sun coming in. And it really causes a lot of headache if you have to wake up an hour earlier and come to work on Monday. It's a little bit hard, so be understanding of that. In the EU, Easter is a big holiday. Usually it'll be a half day or a full day off on Thursday before the Good Friday. Saturday and Sunday will be off, and usually the Monday following Easter also. That's a very important holiday in a lot of countries in the EU. Also keep a lookout for All Saints Day, All Souls Day in the beginning of November. That'll be 2 holidays in a row right there. And Advent, Christmas to New Year. So Germany will be celebrating Advent at the beginning of December. Then there'll be Christmas to the beginning of the year. A lot of companies will take a lot of leave during that time, so just be aware. Now, Ascension Thursday falls on a Thursday in May. So note that you may have some manufacturers, some 3PLs taking an additional Friday off, so it'll be a long weekend. So you need to make sure that you get your orders in before then. Now, the July and August summer shutdown doesn't really apply to tourist areas, but just be aware that a lot of your staff may be taking leave during this time, so just plan for those leaves. Now, in India, number 6 manufacturing country, so they have quite a wide variety of holidays. One major one is Dussehra. It can be 1 day, official national holiday. Depending on the state, it could be as long as 4 days off. The actual festival lasts 10 days, so there may be some other things that your staff is going to be working on during that time period outside of office. Diwali, Deepavali, these are major holidays for a lot of different religions in India, namely Hindu, Sikh, Jain, and a few others. So that's going to be in October to November, officially 1 day. The full festival is 5 days, so just be aware of that. Now, with the multiple religions in India, there's a few holidays that will synchronize to be quite close. So this year, Eid Milad for Muslims and Guru Nanak's birthday for Sikhs. Those are national holidays for everybody, November 10th, November 12th. So you may experience some slowdown as people also take the 11th off. So just take a look at your calendar if you're planning any manufacturing deliveries coming out of India. Alright, so also got Brazil. They're quite famous for their Carnival celebration before Lent. That's actually a 6-day festival coming in late February. So it's not an official national holiday. Everything will be open, but people may be taking leave, having a long time off to prepare for what's happening with Carnival, maybe spending some late nights out watching what's going on. Very impressive celebration there. Now Brazil, also very Catholic, so they follow Easter, Christmas, All Souls, Corpus Christi, and these type of religious holidays. Indonesia, very up-and-coming manufacturing country. It's almost 80% Muslim, so quite a few holidays that maybe you're not familiar with. Something recently that just came out from the Indonesian government, Cuti Bersama. It's for the government staff to have leave about the same time to kind of help with productivity in the country so that there's not everybody taking leave at different times. It's a week in June that will be off, so plan ahead your shipments. Customs will be down during that period. Also, the holy month of Ramadan for Muslims. It's not an official holiday, but it's a fasting month, so you may have lower productivity, quite tough. They fast from dawn till dusk. Not so easy to do that and work at the same time depending on the profession. And then breaking of that fast is celebrated by Eid al-Fitr. So that's going to be an official holiday that will take off to break the fast for the month of Ramadan. Later in the year will be Eid al-Halal. It's also when the Hajj happens. So Hajj is a pilgrimage back to Mecca. So some of your staff may be out. Shouldn't be a large number, but just be aware. Alright, so some other days that I want to mention to you. If you're from the US, Labor Day is not going to be on May 1st. The rest of the world does celebrate Labor Day on the 1st of May. Other days to look out for is each individual country's National Day, Liberation Day, Memorial Days, Foundation Day, Independence Day. They're all going to have different days to celebrate, so keep a lookout. And Cyber Monday, it's not an official holiday, but I just want to mention these because they are going to affect your shipping times. If you're not familiar with 10/10, 11/11, 12/12, it's very similar to Cyber Monday in the US, where there's discounts happening online. It's kind of an online sales event. Originally started with Singles Day from China. Alibaba put up sales on 11/11. Then that kind of expanded to, okay, well, 11/11 is very popular, very difficult to get all the orders out. Let's spread it out. 11/11 and 12/12, all both very, very popular. So there's 10/10 actually coming up as another sales, online sales as well. So with the amount of orders coming in, you may experience delays. So why do you experience delays? Let's go ahead and get into what actually happens when there's a holiday shutdown at your manufacturer or one of these instances of online sales where the demand is going to increase. So demand will continue. No matter if your manufacturer is performing or not, you're still going to receive orders if your website is live. And your supply is not going to move. So what's going to happen with that is I tried to depict here in this graph. So you have your orders in the green, your backlog is in the green, usually very low. It's not going to be zero, but generally each day you should have very low backlog. And in this example, our orders are shipping about 400 orders per day. And we're looking at Monday as being a holiday. So starting on Thursday, Friday, our backlog is low. Saturday, generally, at least in my experience in Asia, they'll run a half day on Saturday of processing orders. So of those 400 orders per day, we can process about half. So we'll have 200 orders of backlog building up on Saturday. Sunday is a rest day, generally. So you have an additional 400 orders piling up. With Monday being a holiday, an additional 400 orders, so you're getting quite high. On Tuesday when you come in, there's 1,200 orders to clear. So quite a large backlog. As orders start coming in, that backlog will build. So depending on the length of the holiday, something like Chinese New Year, 2-3 weeks or more, you're going to have quite a large backlog to clear through. So when you have that orders coming back in, staff coming back in, start getting processed on Tuesday, by Wednesday, hopefully you'll start clearing. So in this example, they're used to shipping 400 orders per day, but to clear the backlog, they're going to have to ship more than 400 orders to clear the backlog. So here they're shipping 700 orders every day to try and clear the backlog. So by Wednesday it reduces some, by Thursday it reduces some, Friday finally they're getting to less than 300 orders backlog. So if they're shipping almost twice the amount of orders, it'll take them almost the same amount of time to clear as they had holidays for. So that's what happens when there's large holidays. Your order's going to get backed up, it's going to take time to clear, and it's going to cause, upset customers, and it's caused customers to receive orders at different times. So how do I minimize the damage when you get stuck in a situation like this? What I recommend to consider is LIFO. So LIFO is an inventory technique for the last in, first out. So the last stock that you received, the stock that just came in, you ship out that stock. So apply the LIFO, inventory management to your orders. If you have the opportunity, you have a big chunk of orders and backlog that, Saturday afternoon until Tuesday morning orders, go ahead and lock those orders off. Focus on the orders that come in Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday, Thursday, so you don't have additional customers getting upset. Get your upset customers locked out with LIFO. So you take care of the new customers that are coming in and slowly chip away at dealing with those backlog orders starting with Saturday into Sunday and slowly clear those out. So that's a recommendation that I have for you. Now, removing the item or extending the quote. Now, the item may be live on your website. You find out your shipper is not fulfilling their orders on time. It's a good idea to take that item off your website, take it down, so that you don't receive additional orders for it. Because until you get word from your supplier of what's going on, did they have an accident, are they having manufacturing trouble, you don't want to have too many orders outstanding. Another thing is extending the quote. If you do understand that, okay, maybe they're doing some repair work or they're having production come up later, if you trust your manufacturer, extend the quote on your website. So your quote is the amount of shipping time required for the order to come out, and it's just an idea so when the customer purchases, they know when to expect their order. It's not going to be immediate. This is going to be a few weeks of waiting time, known when they order. Another suggestion is to communicate with our customers. Oftentimes, we get stuck trying to repair the problems as much as we can and don't communicate well with the customer. So the customer is just wondering what's going on. It's a very good idea to communicate with the customers. If you have a mailing list, get the customer orders that are on that mailing list out. Give them an idea what's going on. If you don't have a mailing list set up, then just download the orders out of your website backend and just create a BCC email letting them know what's going on. Hey, this is a situation. We're hoping to have it resolved by this date. Please expect your order by now. And then you can ask them if they have any problems. They can contact customer service to either cancel their order or reschedule delivery date. Another recommendation is to offer some kind of compensation for the inconvenience that they have. Customers are quite easy to switch. The cost to acquire the customer can be quite high, so keep your customers happy as best you can. Offer them free shipping or a discount on their current order that they're waiting on, and then maybe an additional 10% or 15% off on the next order that they place on your website, just to make sure you keep your customers happy as you resolve your situation. Now, for example, I just received this email this week from FedEx. I don't actually have anything in transit with FedEx right now. I'm not expecting anything, but they let me know, hey, Dubai Airport is being renovated. You may expect shipping delays. So this is a really good communication. Definitely over communicate, take their example. And another example I have is with John F. Kennedy in the Bay of Pigs. It's a bit old of an example, but it's quite a good reminder that when something very bad happens, be sure and communicate, be upfront. So what happened is the U.S. CIA sent in 1,000 plus former Cuban citizens that wanted to rebel against Castro. When he sent them in, they got captured right away, and it was a complete failure of the rebellion. So when the U.S. was found to be responsible for bringing them in and training them, the president came in and said that it was a responsibility of the president, an obligation to present the facts, to present them with candor, and to present them with perspective. So I take this anytime I have a customer service issue, make sure and let them know the facts, Be straight about it. Don't make too many excuses, and then give a good perspective. Okay, we had too many orders, very popular. Next time we will do better. Thank you. All right, so planning ahead. These are things that you can do if you've cleared your immediate backlog. So if you're on top of your orders and you're expecting a holiday to come up, something to interrupt your supply, we recommend this. I have not been able to find any supply chain or demand planning books that actually mention how to stock up before a manufacturing shutdown. But I did take a look at this book, which is Supply Chain Management and Business Continuity. So we'll do another lesson on this later about the unplanned risk associated with business continuity. But she has some good suggestions for a situation that we encounter if they have a manufacturing shutdown. So the ongoing push for a smaller physical footprint is often accompanied by removing operations and locations seen as being redundant, inefficient, or unnecessary. This results in having more eggs in fewer baskets. So those of you doing drop shipping, this is you. You've removed the stages in between, the warehousing, the distribution, the retail channel. So a bit more exposed to those situations if there's not enough inventory. So you have very few baskets. Everything, your one basket is with the manufacturer to fulfill your orders. So we'll give you some suggestions going long term to help mitigate that risk. So planning ahead, change your model a bit, keep some inventory on hand to get through the shutdown. Your manufacturer is going to be shut down for that time. Keep some inventory so you can fulfill on your own separately. Have a forecast, a simple forecast. Go ahead and get an idea of how your products are performing, how much stock that you need to put into a different location so you can continue filling orders through that shutdown. And definitely plan in advance. Most manufacturing requires raw material, manufacturing time, and transit time. So you want to come out of manufacturing ahead of the rush for the holiday, maintain that quality, keep your customers happy. All right, so if you have any questions on those, join the My House to Warehouse Training Academy. We are going to be covering making a forecast, how to get the right safety stock in, and then what your lead time should be. So keep a lookout for those videos. They'll be here or down in the description once they're up. All right, so I asked online my supply chain groups, how do they prepare for shutdown? And they talked a lot about these things that we just discussed. Have safety stock, do a forecast, stock up on your products for the end. But Sunny here had a really good suggestion to add a LD clause to your contract. So LD is a liquidation disbursement, something like that. Basically allowing the client to receive compensation for any non-performance by the vendor. This happens a lot in my experience with something called KPIs, so key performance indicators. If I give my contract to a warehouse, I expect certain key KPIs to be met. They have to meet certain performance indicators, like the amount of orders shipped out per day, the time frame needed, inventory accuracy, number of cycle counts. These type of things should all be in the contract. So it's just having a contract with some teeth. Make sure there's a compensation clause, there's a non-performance clause if they don't meet some of their KPI, so that there's a penalty to that supplier, that third party, if they are not able to meet the requirements of your customers, because that affects your business. It should affect their business as well. Consider long-term having global vendors. That's why I wanted to show you some of the holidays around manufacturing countries, so you can hopefully find manufacturers that are in a country that's not affected by some of these long holidays. So diversify your manufacturing, have a few more baskets to keep your eggs in. Transition to a new season or version. Now this comes from my retail experience. Coming out of Chinese New Year, we would normally transition to a new color or style, have a spring launch. What that allows us to do is sell down inventory from the previous season. So the fall winter season will sell out hopefully sometime during Chinese New Year. but we've planned far in advance. So our spring season is coming in. We probably placed our POs in October. The raw material sourcing was done by November. They started manufacturing in December, and by January, the goods are already in transit to the destinations. So they arrive in my warehouses beginning of February, right when Chinese New Year hits. So I missed the rush of items coming out of China. My goods don't get delayed. Hopefully it's far enough in advance that I still have good quality products coming out of my manufacturers. They're not rushing to finish my orders. And then I have all my products staged to actually make a transition during Chinese New Year. So it's staged in my home market, in my warehouse, waiting. Now, I'll sell down my inventory as low as I possibly can during February. And as soon as I'm about to sell out, I'll do some marketing, do a brand new color launch, do a new style launch, and then bring those goods that have been waiting in my warehouse online. So transition my old stock out, bring the new stock on. Quite common practice in retail. You can go ahead and try and apply that in your e-commerce business. Now that's about it. That's all I have for you today. Plan for the next shutdown. You have some tools to do that. We'll go ahead and cover some of the forecast, supply chain, min-max type things in our next few lessons. So be sure and join the group for that. Again, 10 a.m. in Singapore, and on the West Coast in the evenings on Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Look for resources down in the comments for some easy to reference calendars for these holidays in Chinese New Year and manufacturers with China. So that'll be a free resource for you guys. Go ahead and grab it so you can plan ahead, and then check the next video out for demand planning tips. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.